Welcome, everybody, to the news segment, February 3rd, 2023. My name is Ken. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Let's go around and see what everybody is drinking, starting with Rob. Rob, what do you got?
I am double fisting at this point with my Negative Godfather, the non-alcoholic bourbon and non-alcoholic amaretto, and just cracked open a can of Big Drop, the Galactic Extra Dark non-alcoholic stout.
All right, Nick, what do you got?
I am drinking the Dogfish Head 90-minute Imperial IPA.
Daniel?
Still working on this carry your own bags porter, and I just poured an 805 from Firestone Walker.
And Wendy?
I am not going to lie, I'm super excited to be drinking a Tax Holiday. It's a bourbon barrel Tax Holiday from Taxman Brewing, thanks to Tavour. Taxman's a brewery out of Indiana that I absolutely love. I'm super excited to try this one.
And what's the code for Tavour when people want to sign up?
That is Better on Draft. You can get to it at Tavour, TAVOUR.com.
For myself, I am not drinking as I am sick and you can hear, so this episode is brought to you by Fisherman's Friend, original extra strong throat lozenges. But I am just going to pass it right away to one of my co-hosts to start with the news. So we will start with Rob. Rob, what do you got for the news today?
Oh, man, I was just like going through a whole bunch of different ideas with what to cover with the news. I'm not going to do that one because that's not necessarily news, but I'm going to go into this one here. So there was an article that came out that covered Brewers Association's Bart Watson, who has obviously been on the show before. But he released a report showing that single-serve cans and 12-pack can variety packs gained the most share among package formats. Now, the 12-pack sales, or rather the 12-pack shares, went up from 16.1% to 19.3%. Single-serve cans went from 3.8 to 5.2. What's very interesting is that 4-packs only went up by 0.1%. However, 6-packs went down a full percentage point. So very interesting numbers that are being calculated here and what's going on. But I'm curious with you guys in terms of buying beer. They're obviously they're talking about single serve and 12 packs. Gaining share. But when you're going out to buy beer, are you getting single serve cans, 6-packs, 4-packs, 12 packs? Like, how are you buying beer, and why are you buying it? And where does your methodology come from? I'm gonna start with Wendy on that one.
90% of the time, I'm buying single serve. Like, I'm mixing up my packs because I want to try stuff from all over the place. And I don't necessarily want to pay $20 to $30 for a 4-pack or a 6-pack of something that I don't like. So I want to try it first. So I mix it up. I buy the single ones. I know I'm paying more for it, but I'd rather go that route.
And that was one thing that I was going to ask about, was that, with single cans, obviously they're going to be a little bit more. I mean, when you look at, I guess just for an example of something like, what was I thinking of? I just completely lost it. Let's just say Eastern Market Brewing's Elephant Juice. Let's say you can get a 4-pack of that for $16. Whereas if you get a single can may cost you $5.50, which economically, buying 4 cans single is going to be more than you buying the 4-pack. But I mean, to you, it's worth paying that extra amount of money to just have the 1 can. I mean, I guess
if I've never had it before.
Yes, if you've never had it before, does it ever give you any type of like a feeling of regret that you spent more on this 1 can and now you want a 4-pack and you were like, well, shit, I wish I just got the 4-pack? Does that ever happen?
I just go back and get the 4-pack.
Makes sense.
It's that easy.
It's that easy.
If I like it, I go back and get more. But for the most part, no, I wanna try it before I buy it. I'm always that kind of girl.
Makes sense. Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, so usually I buy between either kegs for the kegerator or it's a mix six. I rarely buy, trying to think the last 4-pack of something or a mixed 4-pack like I did down in Texas. Trying to think the last time I bought a, like a 4 or a 6-pack of the same beer, and it's been quite a while. So usually when it comes to buying individual cans of that, I usually am buying 1 or 2 because, especially if it's something new, I don't want it to be something like, oh, I've got 6 of these beers and I want to like throw them out the window. So
Right.
yeah, it's kind of a waste otherwise if you don't do it that way. So, it's thinking back, it was probably November the last time I bought it was a 4-pack of the same beer. In fact, I think it was this beer right here. From Broken Boundary that I bought the same beer of. Since then, it's always been just individual ones or a keg for the kegerator.
Definitely makes sense.
Can I throw in there too? If I'm buying a 4 or a 6-pack, it's usually because there's people I'm going to share it with.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I've definitely done that before. Especially like if you're going to, I guess that's the thing. It's like if you're going to like a party or a gathering, it's okay, do I make a variety pack and take the variety pack, or do I buy a 4-pack? Which I almost kind of feel like if you go in with a variety pack, you're going in with the intent that you're drinking all of those because you got all different beers, as opposed to sharing. So yeah, I could definitely, I could see that with going someplace that you want to get that much to share. Nick, what do you think?
I'm going to be buying typically a mix 6. The last time I bought actually beer for any occasion, it was last year, and I only got it because my wife appreciated it, and that was the Dirty 30 Busch Light John Deere can edition.
Your wife got excited about
that? So for those that have never met my wife, her family is an old school farming family out here in Macomb County, and her grandfather owned and ran a John Deere tractor, and he actually won the tractor pull at the Armada Fair some time ago, which is a big deal in Macomb County if you're ever out here.
So is this like Al Bundy? Is this like Al Bundy in the football game?
No.
Talking about it 30 years later?
No, it's not like Polk High where he throws 5 touchdowns. Anyway, that was the last time I actually bought a single beer for any occasion. I think it was just because my wife would have appreciated it. I think the time before that, I bought the last 2 4-packs from a beer store, I forgot where, of Moscow Miel from Cellarman's. And they've been closed for a number of years prior to that.
Yes.
So that was the last time I actually bought beer of any kind. And but typically, if I'm going, I want to do a mix 6 because I like the variety. I can't stick to one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that's kind of what I've always done with craft beer for the most part. Every once in a while, I'll do a 4-pack or a 6-pack of the same thing, but I've always been, you know what, there's so much out there, I gotta try it all. If I have a mix 6, that's what I'm gonna do.
Now I guess another question that kind of goes into those mix 6s is that in the past, when I've seen, let's just say for example, Holiday Market out in Royal Oak, they always have their own mixed 6-pack containers, or their cardboard carriers. And the thing that I was used to seeing, which I don't see that much anymore of, is the discount. Like when you make a 6-pack, there would be something where it would say, it's like, oh, you do a mix 6, then you get 5% off or something like that. Like where you guys shop, do you still see that anywhere? Or is that just kind of gone away now? Like, I have not noticed.
The one place I go to does $1 off a mixed 6-pack. They used to do 10%, and then it switches just a flat $1 off if you do the mix 6. Everywhere else, there's no discount anymore. It's just straight up whatever the price is of whatever you picked out.
See,
I don't see a lot of places doing discounts anymore either.
I think I still have one that I go to that does it.
And it's just weird. I mean, obviously, prices change, and maybe their prices are reflecting the thought that maybe you'll do a 6-pack. I don't know. It just feels like, in doing variety then doesn't seem as much of an incentive.
It doesn't
anymore. It's just weird. And so, we want variety.
Yeah, if I remember when 8 Degrees was in Ferndale, that's where I think they were doing 15% off when they first opened. If you did the mix 6.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do at their current location. It's, it's been 6 years since I've been out there and walked into his store, but yeah. And then it was 10% here. Now the current people that run the place, it's $1. And it's like we were just talking about, it's more expensive to buy the individual cans. Like if I went and bought picked up 4 cans off the shelf at the individual price, it's like $3 or $4 more than buying the 4-pack. So I don't know if it's just greed or what's going on there, but there really is no incentive to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was just really weirded out about that. It just, I always kind of feel like, and especially lately now, how we've been talking about how these breweries have been making variety packs. Obviously, we've got Rochester Mills where they do 12 Days of Christmas. We've had, whatchamacallit for Beer Camp from, damn it, I cannot remember, Sierra Nevada that had their variety packs. And, when they have those packs, obviously, you have to go into the mindset that this is the brewery that I want a variety pack from, as opposed to, I just want that one beer from the variety pack and then another variety, which I don't feel like with those packs that you can even, I'm not sure if anybody lets you break those up. Even 8 Degrees Plato, like they'll let you break up anything, but I'm not even sure they would even let you break that up. So that's cool. That's kind of where I was just kind of thinking about that and the whole single and 12 pack. So I'm going to pass it off to Wendy for her article.
All right. Well, so I was doing some research and I found, I know we love our craft beer trends, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about our trends already for 2023, but I found an article from Firestone Walker where their brewmaster, Matt, and I have no idea how to say this last name. I'm probably going to murder it. Brynildson. He gave, say that again?
Brynildson.
Okay. Yes, what he said. His top 5 craft beer trends as he sees it for this year. It's cold IPA. Kind of makes sense. The Czech style lager, which is a little bit different from the traditional lager that we see here. West Coast IPA, which I think we've all seen coming up. Non-alcoholic beers. And the last one, he actually said in the article that he thinks it's more his wishful thinking than an actual trend that he sees, but a sessionable adjunct stout. And I know we've all had our discussions about adjuncts, so I'm just wondering what people think about that about any of them really, but really the last one is the one that I'm more interested in your opinions.
Okay, West Coast IPAs. The West Coast is always pushing these things, and I've maybe come across maybe one that I've liked. I just do not like. I don't go for that super hoppiness. I don't like it, and it's one of those. I've tried, but I just as much as I've completely fought with myself to get to like sours to some extent, I can't get there with West Coast IPAs. They're just it's like I've always said with a lot of the Pioneer IPAs that come out of Shorts. is that I don't want my beer to taste like up north. I don't want to taste.
Is that what Troy tastes like? I'm confused.
You got to go
north.
Yeah. I mean north, like Sterling Heights. You need to get a little higher than that.
Oh, yeah, that's really up there.
That's way up there.
That's way up there.
What is that? A whole wait? No, Sterling Heights and Troy are like right next to each other. That's the same. They're parallel.
You're thinking Rochester.
Rochester.
We don't know that down here.
Dude, that's Canada.
That's Canada for Ron.
We don't know that on this side.
Hey, all I can say is I sub-hosted a trivia at some place at, what was it, 22 Mile and Hayes or something like that, and I was just like, I was like 22 and something. I was just like, okay, I am
Sherwood.
No, wasn't Sherwood. It wasn't that far off from there. I remember driving by it on the way there. I can't remember the name of the place though.
22 in Hamlin Pub?
No,
Pub? No, that ain't Hamlin Pub.
No, I'll have to look it up. As
the only thing I can think of that's there at 22 and Hayes is Leo's Coney Island.
That's probably where it was. That's the place to be out there in the boonies.
Definitely.
Do they sell alcohol there?
I don't think they do.
Those are the best Coney Islands that have like Busch Light.
National does. Yeah. National Coney Island sells beer.
They got the little shelf above the register that has the 6 beers they sell.
Oh my gosh.
And one of them's a seltzer.
Definitely not there. It was Cicerelli's.
Oh, that's like, okay, Cicerelli's. Okay.
Yeah,
Cicerelli's. Still a place? Oh my God.
It's still a place, dude. That place is banging on the weekends.
Used to be the Hayloft North back in the day, for those that remember.
There was a nightclub a long time ago, man.
The Hayloft North.
Yeah, that was a bro style nightclub a long time ago.
Quarter beer night.
Quarter beer night.
No,
oh, man. R.I.P. Diamondback Saloon.
But that's just kind of one of those things with West Coast. It's just I do not like that extra pininess, and I can't get into that. The non-alcoholic beers, while they've got it at 4, I kind of feel like with the way the trend is going, that probably should be in spot number 3. I like Czech style lagers. I've had a couple that actually some of those courtesy of Tavour. And when we were doing the promo code the first time, they sent a couple, and I've enjoyed those. It definitely has a little bit of a different profile to it than a regular style lager. So I would definitely love to see those. I'm still weirded out by cold IPAs just because I understand the concept of how it's made by definition, but an IPA is an IPA is an IPA. It just I can't find for cold IPAs for me. I can't find much of a difference. The sessionable adjuncted stouts I'm curious about, because pretty much it always feels like when you make an adjunct stout that it's either it's 12% or it fails. So to see,
sounds like Weathered Souls,
right? Like, I mean, I've had some pretty decent adjuncted stouts that are, 6-7%. There's not many out there that I've ran into, because I always felt like they were just like weirdly just like super thin and just didn't really give off the mouthfeel that I would expect the stout to have. But I would be very interested to see some adjuncted stouts that are like, if like the one that is pictured here from Firestone Walker, if this Mulcha Dulce like clocks in at like 4.5 to 5%, I think that would be really awesome to just like give that a try and see where that profile is. So, my thoughts.
What about you, Dan or Nick?
Yeah, so fun fact, I had not even heard of a cold IPA until about 3 weeks ago. And then we went to Texas, and there were several breweries we went to that actually had a cold IPA on tap. So I don't understand what they're doing with that. I mean, this is just in the cycle of trying to find another variant of an IPA to sell to the IPA bros that are out there. West Coast, I totally see coming up. Somehow I've even gotten into drinking those if I have to. A lot of places we went to last week would have like one or two maybe non IPA type of beers or something to that extent. So the West Coast, what I would grab, and they're actually not terrible. So I get the Pine Sol thing that Rob's referring to, but other than that, it's better than the, drinking like basically orange juice or whatever the hell New England is. It's good for people who don't want to have that like juicy type of, oh, I'm not drinking a beer, I'm drinking a mimosa or beer most or whatever you want to refer to it. Yeah, because that's really the feeling I get from those. What were the other ones? We were talking so much about the other things. Oh, the adjunct stout. God, I'm over adjunct stouts. Like, just give me a stout that is a stout. Like, stop adding things to it. Why? I don't know why everyone needs some type of flavor or some type of ingredient added to a stout. Just give me a stout that's, a stout flavor. We've run out of ideas. I don't know what else you can add to them at this point. So just give me something like this. This is a normal porter that doesn't have any additional adjuncts or anything. Just give me a dark beer that doesn't have to have
a porter flavored porter.
Yeah,
Daniel.
yeah. It's a porter flavored porter. Exactly. Just give me that. Like, I don't know why that's so difficult in 2023.
It's difficult because we have so many manufacturers of alcohol and spirits that have been adding so many damn flavors to things. I mean, you can't just buy vodka flavored vodka. I mean, you could, but then there's bubblegum and there's vanilla and there's Coke flavored and then there's peppermint flavored. And once you see all these adjuncts to spirits, it's like, well, if that's what sells to the game, then you do that with beer. I mean, yeah, I would love a good true to style porter flavored porter or a stout flavored stout for sure. But I don't mind the adjuncts as long as they're done right. If your beer is supposed to taste like a chocolate, like a s'more coming off the fire, then it better be spot on. I mean, there are breweries that get it right. There's a lot of breweries that don't get it right. That
you don't taste any of the flavors that they are in it. Yeah.
Right. But I didn't want to say that they get it wrong. I just want to say that they don't get it right for the profile that I'm expecting. It obviously it hits what they want to sell, and it passes with approval for them to sell it. And there are people that enjoy it. There's just going to be those ones that just don't kick it with me.
My favorite flavor combination is chocolate and mint. Any type of candy, I'm all about it. I've never found a beer that is a chocolate mint beer that I like.
And a lot of the state, we've had a few.
There's a lot. Oh, and I try them all.
Right Brain comes to mind, and they've never gotten it right. You don't taste that flavor that they're going for. They're going for, was it the Thin Mint?
Yeah.
From the Girl Scout, and you just don't get it.
What about Southern Tier? Didn't they have the Girl Scout cookie type beers for a while?
So the beers? Mint is never right I've never found one that the mint doesn't make me want to.
What about?
I don't know if they still make it, Nick. Maybe we're thinking the same way. What about Mocha Mun from Odd Side? That's
I didn't think about that one because I completely forgot about that one until you said something. I don't
know if they still make it, but yeah, that one always had a good mint flavor to
it. There's one that Dan and I know, and we've had on this show.
Mint Condition. Very good one. I've actually got a bottle of Gem Condition I almost drank the other night.
Oh,
it's a very good minty beer.
Mint.
I'll write that down.
One more mint based type of beer, the Dragon's Milk mint one.
I have not had that one.
I don't think I've had that one.
Hold on. Now I gotta. No, it's. Hold on.
The mint condition is a non-barrel aged, but it's about 10%. It's basically mint chocolate chip ice cream in a can.
Yeah. That
Dan, Mocha Mint is New Holland, not
The New Holland one.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, yeah. So that's what I meant. Yeah, Mocha Mint. Yeah,
We'll
Yeah.
check them out.
yeah.
Anyways,
if and real quick, Wendy, when should my connect let me know that mint condition gets made again, I will be sure to get a couple cans for you.
Yeah, and I don't know if Mocha Munt from Oddside, but I'll send that over to you so you can look for it. It's my favorite Oddside beer. Now, if they don't make it anymore, I'm not sure, but definitely worth it to go with if you like a mint beer.
Yeah.
I will definitely have to check those out. I think we've covered that pretty much. So, Nick, on to you.
Boy, I don't know how I can top that one. Anyway, this one's a little bit about an existing craft beer. Some people might not even think it's craft, but technically it is. As I had talked in our last show, AB InBev, Budweiser will not be at the Super Bowl this year. But so what does this have to do with Boston Beer Co. and Samuel Adams? Well, earlier this week, Boston Beer Co. had made the announcement that they are going to remaster the Samuel Adams Boston Lager beer. They're going to remaster it. They are not going to go about in changing the recipe like our friends at New Belgium did with Fat Tire. But they are going to remaster it by changing the brewing process. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. But Jim Cook
coming HD.
Yeah, it's coming HD. It's 4K. 4K. Jim Cook did go on the record in saying, we like to say we know there's a perfect Boston lager out there. We just haven't made it yet. With remastered, we're one step closer to perfection. We cleaned up the brewing process to create an easier drinking profile, giving it an extra sparkle that drinkers will savor. We can now. They did also say that they are planning on having a commercial for the big game called A Brighter Boston, and it's going to be featuring Boston Lagered remastered in the commercial. Boston Lager is a pretty solid beer. You can't go wrong with it. Is it the first thing that usually people think of? Probably not, but it's always been a kind of staple in the beer community. It's stuck around for a very, very long time. What are your thoughts about people trying to, revise beer to try to make it a little bit better? Now, again, they're not going the New Belgium route, revamping the recipe. They're doing something with process, which, people may not notice, people may notice, but what are your guys' thoughts about breweries trying to do something like this and going on the record with this come next week, as a matter of fact? Wendy?
New Coke. That's all I would like to say. I'm gonna let it go.
That was a new formula. That was a new recipe. New Coke. That wasn't a retouch.
Still, when it comes to brewing, the process makes the flavor as well. So when you change stuff up, things change. So I don't know. A Boston Lager is like a good go-to for pretty much any craft beer person who goes to a restaurant and the only craft beer they have is Sam Adams. So I think that's going to change some things. We'll see. I guess I'll give it a try. That's all.
All right. Dan, Rob?
Yeah, we mentioned that actually talking about the Fat Tire, completely redoing the recipe. You go to a place, and actually what popped into my head was the Flint Airport at the bar there. The craft beer that they have is Sam Adams Boston Lager, whatever the IPA is for a Sam Adams, and a Fat Tire. So, that's the go-to beer over like a Bud Light, as much as that's Rob's guilty pleasure. So, if they start changing these things, I mean, you're going to make people not drink that anymore. I don't know. We'll have to see. I guess we're a week away from knowing what's going to happen with it. So I guess it's kind of wait and see, but don't change the damn recipe. That beer has been a staple for so long and people go to it. It's a go-to beer for a lot of places.
So So really quickly before we go to Rob, they did mention that they are going to add a process to the actual overall process of making the beer to reduce filtration using a traditional German practice of quote, end quote, biological acidification, whatever the hell that is. So, all right, I added that there. Rob, what do you got for that?
This is kind of the thing that I was very curious about, because in remastering the process and making the beer, I'm curious what got added or what got cut out. Was this a cost-saving measure that they had to do to try and, make the beer and still be as profitable as they can by making it cheaper? Like what happened? Like, why change this? I'm also curious now that it makes me want to actually buy a single. I would buy a single can or single bottle of Boston Lager and wait for the remaster to come out and just try them side by side to try and see if there's a difference. Because if this goes, I mean, obviously it's not necessarily going under the radar because they're spending, $15.2 billion to pay for this damn commercial. Probably an extra $2 million went to Kevin Garnett since he's going to be in this as well. So I don't know how much they paid, how much they paid him, and how much it cost for commercial this year. I hadn't looked it up, but to really put this out there, obviously, I feel like there's still a lot of people who drink Sam Adams. I mean, Sam Adams, for the most part, a lot of people consider arguably the grandfather of mass-produced craft beer. So for them to just kind of rebrand themselves and come up with this remastered version, clearly trying to bring a little bit more excitement to get more people to buy. That's for sure. But I kind of wonder where I'm going to taste the difference. So I want to get a bottle and try them both side by side and see if there's a difference to me. Other people, they're probably just going to see that commercial, just going to be like, oh shit, I need to try Sam Adams. And it may bring some of them customers back and bring them back to the brand. But I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be much of a difference to me. I hope there is, but at the same time, I kind of hope the remastering doesn't take it to fat tire levels where suddenly it creates a different profile. I guess I just expect it as whatever science term that Nick said, that it just makes it cleaner. Oh, not sure. But I think with that passes you over to you, Dan. What do you got?
All right. So it's pretty interesting that you actually brought up St. Archer during the interview portion of our episode here, as San Diego headquartered Kings and Convicts, one of our favorite breweries to talk about, but haven't talked to them, who acquired Ballast Point back in 2019, is actually going to vacate the Encinitas and Miramar production facilities of St. Archer here coming up in just a couple of months. Both locations belong to St. Archer's, who then Molson Coors acquired in 2015 and then ceased production at. Kings and Convicts originally said they were going to keep on the St. Archer employees, but now that's kind of up in the air. Kings and Convicts is going to continue to make the St. Archer brand at their Ballast Point breweries and continue to distribute it, which actually brings me to my question. We had something to kind of a smaller scale here. We had a brewery called Sunup, actually just won a GABF, I believe, medal in 2021, closed their tap room, and they're now a production only facility. And they're actually looking at moving their production over to a contractor versus making their own. So my question for this is, does that affect how you drink, if you'll drink their beer? Something to my surprise is a lot of people, when they found out like a Sunup White Russian can only be gotten, at a Total Wine or maybe at a bar if they're buying it from the distributor to sell the beer, that they really don't want to drink it if they don't have a tap room or a facility they can go into. Does that affect if you will drink that type of beer, that particular beer? Perfect example, Sunup, just to tell you the background, Sunup bought the brewery called Sonoran, who was making beer for about 3 decades before Sunup took over the facility. Now there's one Sonoran beer out there called White Chocolate Stout that's actually made by another brewer out here now. The Sonoran brand doesn't exist anymore. And it kind of falls on the wayside, even though it's a good beer. So my question to all of you is, if you find out a beer is production only, doesn't have a tap room, might not even have an actual brewery, are you actually going to drink that beer, and why or why not? So Rob, let's start with you.
Ooh, I kind of feel like a place like this would at least do tap takeovers every now and then. And so if they pop in there, that would be good. But I mean, if hypothetically they did not, I would probably say that it almost feels like it's going to depend if as long as I've had them before, then I'm going to expect the same consistency of what I've been getting and just keep drinking it. If it's someplace that is completely brand new to me, and I find out that that's all they have is just a production facility, I mean, I don't see how that stops me. If they have, what's on the can and what's written on the can is something I'm looking for, I'm going to try it. I at that point, my information gathering of the brewery is pretty much left to the people who are selling it. That would be like one of those where, as we talked about them earlier, it's like going into it in 8 Degrees Plato and, talking to, either Tim or Zachary and their staff and, asking about the beers because, they have the experience and, I'm going to trust them, or, going to Metropolitan and talking to Ashley because, he works at gathering that information and getting that homework. So as long as I have that information about the brewery, and enjoy their product, then I'm okay. I mean, it'd be nice to have a place to go to with their brewery, their beer in stock. And it kind of sucks that, breweries do tend to have special one-offs that they do in their own facility, and you're not going to get that there. But as long as they make good beer there, I'm okay.
What about you, Wendy? You like to travel for beer. If you went, for example, to New Orleans and there's a beer that's just production only, you can't get at a tap room, brewery, anything like that, are you going to drink that?
Yeah, I'm probably going to try it. What is it they say? Whatever beer you're drinking, if you like the beer you're drinking, it's a good beer.
If you like it, it's a good beer.
If you like it, it's a good beer. It's taken me a lot of years to get back to that point. But if you like it, it's a good beer. And I mean, there's other places like, what is it? Not Untitled Art. Is that the one that travels to different breweries and does?
Nowhere in particular.
Nowhere in particular. So they are production only. They don't have a facility. They don't have a tap room. They're always partnering with other people, but their beer is fantastic. Why would we not drink their beer just because they don't have a tap room? Same thing. Didn't we have Milking It here? Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
They did the DCFC beer, didn't they?
Yep. Yeah, they did the first one. Yep.
Yeah. So
that wasn't Milking It. That was what did they
Axel?
become?
Axel,
yeah.
They did have the red IPA before it became Axel. So
yeah,
because I have the 2013 jersey and Milking It is on the back.
there. I remember that year.
But yeah, to your point, yes, Dan, you're 100% correct. They switched over to Axel. So
I mean, yeah, I'm absolutely going to buy it. I'm going to try it. Again, so many people have like a definition of craft beer. Like in your talk about Sam Adams in the last article, Rob, you said that they were arguably the godfather of craft beer. They were craft beer when they started out. Like, how are they not the godfather? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different variations and definitions that people have. And part of my journey on this show actually has shown me that if it's a good beer, if you like it, it's a good beer.
Yeah. And another point to it is that it could it be a production facility because they don't have the money to actually have a brewery? Maybe in it actually making this beer and people going out to enjoy it, regardless of them not having a facility, that the profits can actually be used for them to create a facility.
Right.
Which is a good point. We have a couple of breweries out here that actually run out of, physical brewery where they're producing one or two beers, but it's actually the brewer who owns, the quote unquote brewery, but they're just brewing it at this other facility while they're trying to get started. And people do flock to that for a number of reasons. What about you, Nick? Are you still going to drink this beer? Are these people that are like, I'll never drink that, because they don't have a location? Are they in the minority, just the vocal internet nerds that we've talked about in the earlier days of the show?
Yep. That's what I think. I'm with Wendy and I'm with Rob. It's not going to stop me. Too much good beer out there to not try it, especially if it's just a production only facility. Life's too short. Why have that mentality? Doesn't make any sense. If you like it, it's good. If you want to go get it, go get it. Yeah, that's not going to stop me. There's tons of places that are production only that you can't get anywhere else, and they make good beer. Plain and simple.
Yep. Wendy, you had another point?
I do. When I first met Wolverine Brewing out of Ann Arbor, Michigan, was at a World Expo of Beer. They only had one beer, and it was their light lager. And they did not have a tap room yet. They only had that light lager, and they had a line the entire time that I was pouring for them at World Expo. They used that money that they made by selling that beer to other places to get their tap room, which is now thriving today. That's all I have to say.
It didn't start with Massacre? Kind of surprised.
I totally forgot. I remember pouring. That was one of the first people. There were three of us, and we had one keg to pour out of.
You're sparking my dreams of Mexican hot chocolate massacre. Oh my God.
I didn't even know that existed. It's pretty interesting.
That was the first time I actually ran into Wolverine was at a beer fest, and they had that, and I was just like, where are the bottles? It's like we don't. These are like one-offs. We don't bottle this one. Like, why the fuck not? And actually, I think they actually did bottle it this year, but it was very limited. So I think the only way to actually can get it is if I actually go out there, which if I do, that's usually where I end up stopping at Holmes as well, going to the campus to get some smooge.
That campus is ridiculous over at Holmes, what they did over there. On the other side of the city. But that's going to do it for the news segment. Better on Draft podcast, February 3rd. We are off next week, but we will be back in 2 weeks on the 17th. And no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's Better on Draft. Have a good night.
Peace, y'all.